Hello, everybody. Welcome to Project Podcast. My name is Ira Bowman. Today, I'm excited to have with me Bessy Tam. She is the founder of inyour20s.com and the account manager for Google. Bessy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ira. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you. I'm excited. I remember watching a video of yours like a month ago, thinking, man, this is awesome. I got to get you on the show, so I'm excited to have you. I don't know if you've seen any of the previous episodes. I normally run about 10 minutes. There's 3 questions, and if you're ready, I'm ready to start with question number 1.
I'm ready.
Awesome. Here we go. Question number 1, you went from working in digital marketing to working as an account manager for Google. Can you please tell us a little bit about the journey and how you transitioned from one to the other?
Yeah, of course. So I moved from in-house marketing in Boston to working in tech in Hong Kong. So generally, when it comes to switching from a traditional industry to tech, you face, 3 stages of frustration, I would go. And I experienced this in my journey, and I can also see this amongst my students as well. So the first is obviously realizing that you're not in the right place, right? So you work in a company for 2 to 3 years, and your learning, starts to plateau. The challenge is you ultimately don't really see how the company would get you to where you want to be. A lot of students of mine actually approach me because of this, and they know that they want something fast-paced, creative, like a creative environment, working with smart people, be in a place where they can grow for 4 to 5 years. I had the same issue. It came to a point where I didn't really want to wake up for work anymore because everything was just status quo, So I decided to move to Hong Kong to be closer to my family and find something that really fit my goals. So I started looking for new jobs, right? So then it comes to the second stage of frustration. It's finding the right role in the industry you want to be in. So unfortunately, titles in tech companies, even outside of tech, are very, very nuanced. So you search online, you end up applying to the wrong jobs and companies. For example, right, a student of mine actually applied to marketing jobs in large tech companies and never heard back. And it's really frustrating because you know that you can get that job and you can do really well. All you needed to do is just get in front of the hiring manager to showcase what you can do, right? But after understanding her background, we changed the strategy and instantly got interviews with Google and LinkedIn within 2 weeks. So for me, I was in the same situation. I couldn't find anything that I really wanted to do since, I initially just approached marketing with the right mindset. Oh, I'll find something in the industry that I want, right? So nothing really appealed to me. And I knew the traits of the ideal job, but I didn't know what it looked like. But after talking to hundreds of people who worked in different industries, I finally learned about what they liked about their job. And ultimately, I found out that tech was right for me. I actually didn't know that I could even get into tech. I thought that you needed coding experience, which I didn't have. I have a business degree, right? So once you identify that role and like the industry, the third part of frustration is actually sending resumes into black holes, which is also what you're helping with in terms of your, the candidates who go into your connection incubator, right? So people never actually learn how to write resumes. And based off of even my personal experiences interviewing people at Google, and also based off of researches too. First of all, interviewers look at your resume for 6 seconds on average. And even 65% of jobs are actually filled through referrals. So you can imagine how many resumes a tech company or, a sought after job would get. So if your resume, it doesn't have relevant data points or relevant experiences they would need, or B, if you're not referred by someone who works in that company, it's really, really slim and hard to get into. So for me, it took about 108 unique applications for 10 months to finally learn the best way to write an amazing cover letter and resume to get, 7 interviews within 1 week, the final week of this whole frustrating process. 2 were actually for tech, one of which was for Google. And to be honest, I only got in because I, met someone who was in that team who could tell me what they were looking for and what they wanted. And by the end of it, I got the job against 50 different candidates. So I'm really grateful for that. And since then, I got promoted twice in 2 years, got a 6-figure salary by the age of 24, got to move halfway across the world to US, and even got to work with different C-levels, both internally and externally with Fortune 50 companies. So I'm really excited for this and really hope that no one goes through the same process as me, because it's really frustrating to go through that for 10 months, even though it could all be shrunk into 2 weeks of effort.
Well, it's funny because, I mean, you ended where Project Help You Grow starts in a lot of senses. That, you know, it's not just what you know. Certainly what you know is important, but it's also who you know and making those connections. And that's where the incubator that you referenced, the group, that's the genesis of the idea. Like, let me help you meet more people so that you can get that job. Very good. Thank you very much for that explanation. A little long-winded, of course, but there's a lot to it. And for people that are trying to make the process simpler, they need to understand that you understand the frustration yourself. And that's the genesis of your inyour20s.com, which we'll talk about in a minute, I'm sure. Question number 2, what caught my attention with you was your LinkedIn profile and the way you use LinkedIn. Can you talk to my audience a bit about the importance of having a good LinkedIn profile and perhaps some advice you would give on how they can maximize their profile to get more out of the platform?
Yeah, of course. So generally everyone knows that LinkedIn is important, but we need to understand how recruiters and hiring managers actually use it. So overall, there's a push and pull strategy, right? In terms of push, this means that you have the right content, title, and information so that recruiters can search for you and email you for the right opportunities. Personally, I get around 300 views and 200 searches per week. I would say on average, you would want to aim for 200 views and about 100 to 150 searches per week for your profile. So I'll deep dive into a little bit more of the strategy later on. The second part is the pull strategy. This only happens after your resume is in the hiring manager's hands and they search for your LinkedIn or, you know, click on the link in your resume. So according to JobVite, 85% of recruiters and hiring managers actually use LinkedIn to vet their candidates. So let's say you apply to one of the 3 million jobs posted on LinkedIn or apply to jobs through your site, the recruiters actually will just click on your profile or search for you on LinkedIn. So I'm also happy to give your audience a PDF if that's helpful, so that they can get, like, you know, dive deeper into strategies or do it yourself type of approach. Would that be helpful? You're muted right now.
Oh, I forgot to unmute myself. Sorry.
Yeah.
my audience is all about the DIY, right? The do it yourself crowd. They're all about it. So they would love to have that PDF for sure.
Awesome. Sounds great. So I think you'll have the link in the description, but I'll tell you guys, the link will be inyour20s.com/LinkedIn tips if you guys need. So right now I'll just walk through a little bit of the strategy first. So overall, there's 4 parts to an awesome LinkedIn profile. 1 is being brief. 2 is being seen. 3 is being recognized, and 4 is being memorable, right? So in terms of being brief, you don't want to tell your life story from childhood to like now. You want to be brief and be able to tell your elevator pitch within the 6 to 10 seconds that a recruiter or a hiring manager will look at your profile. So in the end, it's being able to, for your summary, you would have maybe 2 paragraphs. First paragraph is what you're doing right now. Second paragraph is what you did before. And then last sentence is generally a list of hard skill sets that will help you get your foot in the door. In terms of your job history, it's the same thing, being able to have the data in there as well. Being seen means, this is the second part, having your connections, so that you can leverage the power of having 2nd and 3rd degree connections to seek for jobs. It means having your settings set as, letting recruiters know that you're open to jobs. That's so important. And also having your title and URL matching job titles or role titles that recruiters are looking for.
It's amazing how many people have their photo settings set to only connections can see it. And it's like, dude, you're trying to be discovered by people. You need to be open to everybody. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt.
No, it's exactly right. That's also part of the strategy, right? Because your picture is, you're 36 times more likely to get a message if you have a photo, because it's authentic. It's who you are. It's different interests. So yeah, definitely being recognized by the content and your skill sets on your LinkedIn recommendations, and lastly, being memorable through your volunteer and interest, being able to showcase who you are beyond your resume. So these are the 4 different strategies, and I'll definitely put more detail into the PDF.
Yeah, and we're running a little short on time, but everything you said, I want to say you're spot on. You've got to catch their attention. You've got to show that you're friendly. You got to show that you're professional, and then you've got to be memorable, because, like you said, they're going to go through hundreds of other profiles, and you've got to be the one that stands out at the end of the day. So that's where knowing people also helps, right? Because then it's like, oh yeah, my friend so and so recommended Ira, and Ira's memorable, and he's got the experience, and so I'm going to give Ira an interview. And then you've got to do good on the interview. So, yeah. Okay, third question. Obviously, you're the founder of inyour20s.com and an account manager for Google. Most people know who Google is and what an account manager does. So can you tell us a little bit more about the inyour20s.com and how it can benefit those job seekers who are watching this podcast?
Yeah. So I generally help people who are looking to get into non-tech roles in tech companies. This means anything that does not really require coding, because there's a lot of business functions within tech companies. So if you're someone who needs a revamp of their resume, look at their LinkedIn, even have a strategy to be able to get referrals, I'm here to help you get mock interviews and finally land an offer.
That's awesome. Now I'm going to link a landing page that you've created for the people watching this podcast from projecthelpyougrow.com. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate your time. It was so much fun. I would love to have you back on a future episode if you're open to it. We'll talk about that offline. But thank you so much for coming on, Bessy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Definitely.